Holy cow, she blew the two kids' heads off.
What are you talking about?
Welcome to GeekStorm. I'm Shawn Hilton, and this is GeekStorm, my partner, Mike Harrison. We're live in the heart of downtown Kokomo, being filmed currently live on location at Pepper Whistle.
We technically have a studio audience. Technically, not them. There are two people sitting right over there.
The producer and his other producer reading the phone?
Right.
All right.
If this is a studio, that's the audience, studio audience.
Cool. Hey, welcome to GeekStorm. We got some big news for you coming out. Lots of stuff going on. TV, video games, movies. First up, Jim and the Holograms live action movie. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Jim.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about because he was talking so fast, he could spell it out and you still wouldn't know what he's talking about.
Is it J-E-M or G-E-M?
J-E-M.
J-E-M and the Holograms.
Yes. An 80s cartoon that nobody remembers, nobody cares about.
I bet every little girl out there from the 80s remembers Jim and the Hologram. She was like Kiss for little girls.
You know, Hollywood's had a lot of success with all the comic movies and everything, but I think it's out of necessity because they've run out of things to make movies about, okay?
When Jim and the Holograms is legitimately being considered for a real...
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm not kidding you. I'm just going to stop and say Jim was awesome.
She was awesome.
She was like punk rock.
Was it a band? Was like Josie and the Pussycats? Were they a band?
They were a band. And like Jim...
Name any other member of the band.
No, I'm telling you about her hair.
Her hair? Her hair.
She could pull her hair up. Like
nice.
This,
oh, that's...
It was blonde.
Is that a superpower?
It was blonde, and then she'd let it down and it was all pink.
Man.
Amazing.
What a great role model for girls everywhere.
Yeah, so you can be at like party by night.
Right.
Normal by day.
Nice.
That's my 2 cents.
Jim.
Wow.
She's going to live forever.
I hope not.
All right, so that was Jim. Can't believe they're going to that well. Love Boat, the action movie, coming at you.
No.
Gopher is finally
Speaking of
lost
movies,
his crap,
no.
and he is taking over.
Not Fred Grandy.
Shot
Passed away.
Stubing in the head.
Passed away from what I understand.
No, he's not. He's still alive.
Fred Grandy?
Didn't we look this up already?
We probably did.
I could have sworn we looked Gopher up and Gopher's alive.
He might be alive.
Gopher was a purser on the Love Boat back also in the 70s and 80s.
We're not talking about this. Okay, great movies coming out this summer.
The Raid 2.
The Raid 2 we talked about before that you all didn't hear.
The most exciting action movie coming out.
Captain
America is going to be great.
Right, Captain America will be great.
Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be great.
Hopefully it will be great. Yes.
But The Raid 2 is the one that you're not expecting.
A lot of action. Every dollar spent is you're going to see it on the screen. It's going to be.
Now,
can't wait to see it.
Mike has a citrus belt, and I'm not sure what that actually. What color are you?
JCPenney 19.
No, you're not Mr. Miyagi. You actually have some like belt color.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Purple.
Purple. That's a citrus color. That's like a plum.
Okay.
So Mike's got a citrus belt, and in that means you've gone to karate. Is it karate or was it taekwondo? You were a karate guy.
Shout out to Donnie Michaels. Kicks Incorporated.
And he's like in the Hall of Fame.
He's in absolutely a Hall of Famer.
So Hall of Fame guy taught you.
Absolutely. I was in 2 years. I don't want to say I was national champion for 2 years, but I was.
National champion 2 years with a stick, right?
No, not with a stick. Karate is the art of the open hand.
Yeah, but use the stick.
Once I did. I didn't do very good with that. There was weapons divisions. This is so not interesting.
All right, so either way, so you know a little bit about karate.
Sure.
The Raid's coming out. Now, what is this thing where they do it? Maybe it's just a kung fu movie thing. Like,
with their feet?
yeah, they're like, you can't see my feet, but there's like this cool scene where they're like facing each other, ready to whoop some butt, right? But then all of a sudden they're like just a little bit closer, like I'm right here now, and they're both like we're both prepping, we're breathing,
right.
I'm getting set. It's almost like the bad arm wrestling show we watched where they had to prep it. Like we're gonna kill each other, but first, you know, it's like.
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, that was a long way to go for
It really
that.
was.
But I like saying citrus belt. That was fun. All right, so moving on. Let's see. There's been a lot of cool things going on.
Sure.
Oh man, Arrow. Did you see the latest Arrow?
I did not. So don't.
Holy cow!
We're not talking about Arrow because I didn't.
But we got to talk about Arrow.
Go ahead. I think I missed last week's too.
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I think I missed last week's.
Suicide Squad. I'm going to tell you what. We're not talking about too much because you haven't seen it. I don't want to ruin it.
I'll go ahead.
But there's another Easter egg.
Really?
Very beginning, they have to, the chick who's married to Diggle, or was his ex-wife, who is, by the way, it's Walking Dead. Woman, strong, tough, still alive, going after her man. Andrea? Not Andrea. Andrea's dead. No, Andrea's dead.
Maggie?
Maggie. It's Maggie's sister.
Is it?
The entire time I'm it's Maggie on screen. They're twins. They have to be. If they're not twins, they're that kind of sister that. As I'm like, me and my wife are both watching it as they're showing the flashback scene, and I'm like, who is that? It's one of those things where you know the character. And I'm like, it's Maggie. Wait a second. We looked this up before. So it's Maggie's sister, and it's got to be like a twin sister. Okay. So if you want to see Maggie from The Walking Dead, like in Afghanistan and full like gun and whatnot,
I'd like to see her sitting right here.
All right. So because you want to interview her,
Sure. Call it what you want.
or because she's really pretty?
Both.
She's hot. Oh, she is hot. She's got a twin. Think about that. All right. Think about that. So.
Twins, Basil?
What? Camera, what? We all thought it.
Okay, so Arrow's great.
So it was really, really good. There's a little Easter egg in it that fanboys are going to get. They're meeting at a hotel at the Ostrander something or other. And Ostrander is was the writer of the 80s series. Is there another problem, producer people? So, little Easter egg in there.
Because we're throwing gold on this side of the camera. You guys need to catch up.
There's a second Easter egg in the episode.
Really?
You hear, you never see it. It's in the shadows. But while they're in the Task Force X, the Suicide Squad jail, you hear a high-pitched female voice say she wants to join, and that she's like a licensed therapist and all this stuff. So
that's cool.
it's a little Easter egg to get Harley Quinn into the show without actually putting her into the show.
Do you think she'll get in eventually?
No, because that leads us into the first pictures of Harvey Bullock have just showed up of Mr. Loeb, and I think they're going to save that kind of character probably for Gotham.
Really?
And unless there's an actual connection between the two shows, and I'm not sure there will be at all, there's really no point. You don't want to waste a good Batman character on Arrow. Not that it's a waste, but you get what I'm saying. Is they don't cross over.
Do they call it the Suicide Squad?
They come in. Amanda Waller's like, this is Task Force X, and Deadshot, Floyd comes out and goes, let's call it what it is. We're the Suicide Squad. Okay. So they use all the names. They bring back in 3 characters. They play up everything about the Suicide Squad except for television. So the changes that you've seen from Green Arrow to Arrow and how they've gone from the book to the television show and Arrow fight it. Same deal with the Suicide Squad. So same kind of stuff there, but really play up on Deadshot. Deadshot's finally a likable, interesting character. They do have a little thing, it doesn't ruin it at all, where you see inside his cell, and there's pictures of a little girl, which, if you don't know the comic, is a little creepy. Why is Deadshot got, hitman killer? And then if you're from the comic, you know that he's got a little girl, and the whole reason he does what he does is he's earning money for his girl. And that comes up. And that's the one thing I love about Arrow is all of these little tiny Easter eggs that help the fan, or things that aren't Easter eggs, because they do talk about his daughter and it comes up. But it's a direct connection. Even though this Deadshot has been Arrowified to make him TV compliant, they're still taking the stuff that makes that character interesting and then putting it into the show. So it was really good.
Speaking of all the little extras that the TV shows are trying to throw in, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to have
Oswald?
Patton Oswalt, yeah, but that's a starring role. That character he's going to play is just some agent. I don't think he's anything pivotal. But
Mike, let me inform you a little bit of your lack of comic knowledge. The character he is playing, Mr. Koenig, is one of the original Howling Commandos from World War II, which was a character that actually, with Nick Fury, created S.H.I.E.L.D.
So why is it? Are they doing a flashback?
That part I can't tell you. I can only tell you that character, if you look him up in Wiki, is a real character in the Marvel Universe. And now imagine Patton Oswalt as a Howling Commando.
Right.
So I don't know about that.
Where I was going though was with Adrian Pazdar going to be Colonel Talbot.
Oh yeah.
Which is from the Hulk mythos. And
what did he do? Come on, let's just geek out today. There's not too often that we actually feel for a a comic character, like a bad guy, especially on paper. But you and I both, back in the day, both read a comic book and actually went, oh, I feel sorry for this poor sumbit. It's bad.
Okay. Bruce Banner is in love with Betty.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And
Betty Ross.
Betty Ross, who's the general's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Who
That's another movie, but we're going to talk about that.
Right. Who Talbot has a thing for, but she likes Bruce Banner.
She likes him big and green.
So back in the Peter David days, at one point, and this might have been the first time ever where I'm reading a comic and I'm like, holy crap, he shoots Betty Banner.
Like twice.
Betty Ross.
Betty Ross.
He shoots her, okay?
Point blank, bam, and like on television so people can see it.
Right, and this is not in a time where it's stupid Hulk or anything. This is smart, vindictive, mean Hulk, okay?
This is Bruce Banner's brain inside the Hulk body for once.
Right.
And you see him, and that's the big splash page at the end is, bam, bam, shoots her like twice in the legs or something.
There's a dead man right there.
Yeah, you're like,
oh my gosh.
Oh, you are so doomed, you poor SOB.
Yeah.
And eventually you find out it was like tranks or something to just lure him out.
Right,
so,
right. But it was on TV or video.
Yeah.
It was like Hulk, I want you to see this, and he shoots his girlfriend.
Oh, you're just like, holy cow.
You don't shoot the Hulk's girlfriend.
No,
Okay?
you don't spit into the wind. No. You don't tug on Superman's cape.
I'll give you that.
And you don't shoot the Incredible Hulk's girlfriend.
I would tug on Superman's cape before I would shoot the Hulk's girlfriend.
Definitely.
Okay.
You might get an autograph.
All right. What else?
Well, oh man, there is a lot of.
Did you watch that Marvel Universe?
I did, but I figured you would, so you'd probably cover that for me.
I don't have it didn't have a lot new. It had a lot interesting to me. A lot of behind the scenes stuff, and you got to talk or listen to some of the cast talk about, like Clark Gregg was talking about when it is he found out he was going to die, or his character was going to die, and how he was introduced into each of the movies and everything. That was kind of neat. The only thing that I found a little unbelievable in the show was how from day one they say, you know, they didn't have this whole thing in mind. I kind of think they did. I kind of think that at least in the back of their mind, they thought, okay, this is where we start the building blocks, and this is where we go. Because the way they talked about Iron Man 1 was it was such a huge gamble for a small studio for Marvel's first, paying their own way type of thing. I thought it was very interesting. You saw some concept art for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and
did it look good?
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Because we've seen other pictures of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
They're very
don't look good.
They're very X-Menified. They're very leather jacket type.
Okay.
It's not black at least, but she's not wearing the cleavage dress.
So if you didn't see this episode of the special thing, did you miss much?
No, not really. Just background stuff.
So you're not going to be like kicking yourself.
No.
Plus, all right. So
it was just interesting. It was interesting.
It'll be a DVD extra on.
Yeah,
the
that's
first
exactly
season,
how
I'm
it felt.
sure
It felt like a
is what it'll
DVD
be.
extra.
We'll give it to them. Give them a week break to keep filming or do whatever. So, and that leads us into Sony, like all of a sudden just vomiting on a table. Dates for crap they don't even know.
Right.
It's like, and Spider-Man, Fantastic Four 2.
I think they know.
Here's a date.
I think they just don't want to say.
We've got another Marvel movie, which we're not telling you what it is.
Right.
What do they have the rights to? It's not that hard to find out.
Right.
I mean, they're no Sony. That's Fox. So Sony's got
You're
Spider-Man.
talking about Fox.
So yeah, I'm not sure what they would have rights to.
Here's what I think
the
they're going
Surfer?
to do. No, I think their big thing is going to be. I think they were going to try to make their Avengers movie by throwing, like say, X-Men versus Fantastic Four, X-Men and Fantastic Four into the same movie. They very much want to just like Sony did announce, I don't know, earlier this year, they want to do the Spider-Man universe. You know, they want to do their Marvel universe too. They can only do this, but. They can only do certain characters, the mutants and the Fantastic Four universe, but I think that's what they'll do is they'll do some type of combined movie that they're talking about 18 for that, mid 18 for that.
Because it's going so well for Batman, Superman, and Superman, Batman so far. We're seeing how team up movies are working out.
Well, but those they'll already have established movies behind them. They'll know what's popular and what's not by the time that movie comes rolling around. Okay.
You know, I'm not sure that this Fantastic Four movie is a slam dunk.
Oh, I don't think it is at all.
It is.
It's a huge gamble.
To throw out your idea that you think they're going to do this crossover, well, forget that because that's complete conjecture on your part. And it could be. I'm not, you make some pretty good arguments for that train of thought. However, announcing a second Fantastic Four movie before we see at least the first day of money.
Right.
Now, maybe in this day and age, we've got Fandango, and we can see advanced. When's the movie even coming out, though?
I don't know.
I don't know that it's available on Fandango. It seems like some bean counter has really stepped forward.
The first Fantastic Four hasn't even started principal photography yet.
Really?
They're still
so why are
messed
we
up
announcing number 2? That's
I'll tell you
mind-boggling.
my thought on that is they see Warner Brothers and Marvel going, okay, we're capturing this date this year. We're capturing this date this year. We're going head to head. We're going to fight about it on Cap and Batman, Superman, and they're just throwing their tent poles out there. And if they don't fit, if they don't stick, they don't stick.
I was going to say, what's the point? So Marvel can look at it and go, because if I was Marvel at this point, I'd be excited. That's the date you're going to pick for something? All right, that's when we're releasing our She-Hulk movie.
Right.
What? That's right. We think we're so badass right now that we can throw She-Hulk against your Fantastic Four movie, and guess who's going to be making an appearance?
And you got to remember, Marvel and Disney are still making money off of these Fox
man.
and Sony movies. They're just not making. It's not making the lion's share. It's not all theirs.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, they're coming out. Disney stock is way up there.
They're not hurting.
They're doing okay.
I mean, especially when you consider that Marvel back in the 90s when you got your thing, they were on the verge of bankruptcy or did file bankruptcy.
Oh yeah, they did.
Some kind of protection.
Chapter 11, I think it was.
I mean, they've come a long way. All right, let's just jump into the big one this week, The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Now, I've seen every episode. I caught up last night, and there's some fools. There's some fools on the internet, Facebook, saying how the second half of this season has been boring, how there's nothing going on, how they can't wait for something to happen. Well, I'm curious. I don't know. I don't want to. You got to be careful how you insult people anymore because there's groups and different people. But you're stupid. If you don't think that this is some of the best television out there right now, you're ignorant. Okay, I don't care if you went to school for film. I don't care if you've created a film. I don't care if you're a web guy. I don't care what you're doing. If you don't think that the current projects that they're pumping out through The Walking Dead and the acting that's taking place, the characterization, those stories aren't the best things on television right now, you're ignorant.
See, we talked about this before, how shows wean the viewer on these oh crap moments, like Herschel getting his head cut off and the governor and all that type of thing, and then they expect it. Then it's like, oh, this episode one isn't good because we didn't see Herschel get his head cut off in this one. This season, this second half, you're absolutely right, is all about acting. It's all about fleshing out the characters and putting them in completely different situations, things we might have seen before with them as a group, but now they're splintered off and they have no idea. This is no cell phones, this is no mail, this is no email, I have no idea if you live a mile and a half in that direction. I have no idea if you're alive, you know what I mean? And what that is my only complaint about this is we don't see as much concern for whether or not the others are okay or as much searching around. Maggie, as far as I know, Maggie and Glenn are the only ones that are real like, we need to find these people. We need to find Maggie, we need to find Glenn. The rest of them are like, well, this is who I have now. Even Tyrese is like, we live here,
Yeah.
And but you're absolutely right. This is just a great second half.
Stunning. I mean, really, just every episode is catching me and making me go, this is the best Walking Dead we've ever seen. If the new series was done like this, but the problem is you still have to develop the characters far enough along to make me care.
You have to care.
And that's what,
you have to care who Herschel is before you cut his head off.
Exactly. And I mean, in this, the whole thing with, is it Beth? I'm horrible with names.
Yes.
Everybody knows
Beth and
that. Beth and Daryl. You know what? This was Beth's role through all of season 3. Holding a fake Cabbage Patch Kid in a blanket until we need a close-up shot, in which case somebody find us a Caucasian baby.
Right.
I mean, that was her role. She got her name in the credits for doing this.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this season, especially with these, this has allowed that actress and this character to blossom.
Yeah.
And I think that out of all the characters, we got Riggs as a young man. He's coming into his own. We had the 2 girls in this most latest stuff. We've had a lot of characters get the chance. Beth is the one, regardless of whether you like what's going on in that storyline. For me, as somebody who's an avid watcher of television and whatnot, she's the best thing we've seen come along acting-wise. She has been blowing me away with how she handles her material and going toe-to-toe with like the hottest thing in the show.
Right. Yeah.
And not overstepping that. It's really a good relationship.
I think it was a good pick on their part to team her up with Daryl in that way because he is so popular and here's the character we probably know the least about.
Yeah.
And it's time for her to shine a little bit and show her stuff and putting her with him allows the audience to care about what's going on in those scenes, because these episodes are very much little time in the bottles. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You don't see a lot of going back and forth between groups. You spent the one episode, you spent the entire episode with just those two characters.
Oh, it was good. And as I said, people complaining about it ignorant. Get over it. This is great television, great
People
acting,
are allowed to have their
great
opinions,
stories.
but it just turns out you're wrong.
You are definitely wrong. And then, so an episode or two ago, we get the introduction of 3 new characters who walked out of the comic book page.
Right.
Really, the guy with the mullet looks almost exactly like the guy from the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
The chick with the shorts, Rosita or whatever, that's what she looks like in the comics. Abraham, I mean,
In that respect, I feel sorry for Maggie, because all of a sudden she's not the hottest chick on the planet anymore. Maggie's hot. Okay, Maggie's a really good-looking woman. I'll give you that. But this girl walks. Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, look at what she's wearing, like Daisy Duke style. Okay, she's hot. There's no doubt about it. It's not even trying to print. I wonder if she's got a twin sister.
I don't care.
All right, so that leads us into this last episode.
Right.
Holy cow! Revelation after revelation. The big thing is, obviously, Crazy Girl's finally confronted. The only problem I had with it was, and this is a little weird, there wasn't enough buildup. There was buildup of her being different and a little crazy, but it's like we went from the mystery of who was feeding the things, and we'd all pretty much figured out it must have been this little girl.
Right.
But to go from that, which is okay, that's a little odd. And then she's acting a little strange here and there. We don't know if she's a psychotic killer or whatnot. To go in this episode where it's just like, boom, Niagara Falls are crazy. And did you see that as a gradual thing, or did that seem pretty abrupt?
It seemed to me that when they started, I knew.
You knew she was crazy. That's
Yeah.
not a problem. But the level, I mean, she went from a normal crazy. She went from a normal person who might be on some medication to control an issue to Johnny's home, fire axe through the door in The Shining crazy, like in this episode.
I think they allowed that character to finally do the things that she does for other people to see.
Okay.
Whereas
They peeled it back.
not a single person other than the viewer knows that she was smothering that baby. Okay. None of the characters know that. But we knew it. And then
Hawkeye knew it.
Hawkeye sees things.
Hawkeye from MASH, because he did that in that episode.
That's right.
That's a big throwback.
Wow. It is.
Okay, sorry. So, but back to that. I mean,
this episode, her final episode, was the one where we really do see her outward projection of her being just nutty, and I kind of, when she did that with the baby, you think, oh man, something's gonna happen with this girl, something's gonna come to a head.
Sure.
But then, as soon as you saw that she killed her sister,
but that thing with the baby didn't put me off.
Really?
It's a horrible, horrible thing. Mm-hmm. But again, and going back to an old MASH episode where the exact same thing did happen, and they do kill a baby,
right.
What do you do in that circumstance? Horrible, horrible things have to happen on occasion. And I mean, I can't believe that, in a GeekStorm show, we're talking about such a serious topic, but I don't see how you keep Judith alive. Legitimately, I just don't see how you can get baby food, keep her quiet long enough for everyone to survive. She is a liability.
She's a plot device at this point. There's no question. But
it's just in a real world setting.
Yeah.
And I understand that's not the real world, but
babies don't cry all the time. They don't. April, you've had 9?
10?
How many? They don't cry all the time, right?
How is little Jim doing?
Doing wonderful.
Oh, great.
So.
But great episode. So
yeah.
we end up with crazy stuff happening, and this little girl having a psychotic break to the point where she is playing tag with a walker
Right.
and thinks it's normal. I mean, not like she's crazy and torturing it.
And-
This really is
yeah.
my best friend now.
She has a breakdown when Carol goes and puts it down.
Yeah.
She's not, he was my friend. He was just playing with me. She really goes back and forth between reality, knowing what's right and wrong, and not caring. All three of those.
Yeah.
She's like, well, then she kills her sister, obviously, and she says, I was getting ready to
You're
do
Judith.
Yeah. So, I love the scene where Tyrese and Carol are talking, and Carol is convincing them both. She's convincing herself.
Oh, yeah,
also.
she
knows
has to do
she's the one that has to do it. She's convincing them. They can't. She just can't trust around people.
Yeah.
She says it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
She can't trust
they definitely reiterate that. And it goes back to kind of the smothering of Judith in the other episode. What do you do in this horrible situation?
Yeah.
And, she's a liability. And I hate to be, sound so cold. None of us would know how we would react.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I think,
Well, the thought
bad
process
things have to be done.
She's thinking, okay, we got to do something before she does something bad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she does something bad.
Sure.
And should we have done it sooner? No, probably not. But unfortunately, you have to take a life to save a life, but it's too late.
The only thing that happens in this episode, and you're not a comic reader, so now I have to switch over to I've read all the comics from the first issue and I love it, is that scene is stolen from a character that needed that scene. Carol didn't need that scene. It's a powerful scene.
Right.
It's a good scene. She didn't need it. She'd already killed the 2 other people, and that comes to a head as well. The scene that is done in the comic is 2 little boys, and a boy kills his brother and thinks nothing of it. And he's so psychotically broken, or however you want to look at it. He's so done, it's not a problem.
And it's Carl, right?
And the adults can't figure out what to do. What do you do with a little kid that's just done something like this? And in this, we see, how Carol handles it with Tyrese. And the comic, they put it off. They basically tie the kid up just a little bit. They've got him imprisoned, but they still are arguing. Some want to kill him, some we can't do it. Carl sneaks out in the middle of the night and whacks this kid, sneaks back in. And this is a big character growth for him, because not only does he do something that the adults won't do, but he doesn't brag about it. He doesn't go out to make something for it. He's adult enough to know it needs to be done. He does it, but he's also mature enough to know, let's just keep it secret.
Better off
Not only, but it's not a matter of I'm going to get in trouble for what I just did. It's just better for everyone in the long run not to know. The adults will think each other did it, but they will accept it. So it's a powerful episode, and for Riggs as the actor, man, that would have been a turning point. We would have saw Carl go from Carl stay in the house to Carl, holy cow, Carl's badass.
If they had him do that along with everything else he's going through, this entire second half would have been all about Carl. And I think they probably just thought he's got his own story arc right now. We'll just keep him there, and is a way for this to bring Carol back and get him unfold.
We got a couple minutes left. You have a big list, so let's do the whole bam, bam, bam. Let's knock some stuff out. See what I might even know about.
Real quickly, there's rumors talking about a Game of Thrones movie possibly ending up the series. But if that were to happen, it's at least 3 or 4 years away, because the showrunners have said we're going to end around season 7, season 8, regardless. So that's just talk. Cap 3, they're talking about that already. Cap 2 is, and this is not from the Poughkeepsie Journal. These are actual industry people. People are saying Cap 2 is the best Marvel movie to date.
Acting-wise, story-wise?
Movie, I don't know.
All right.
Okay, so they're already talking about Cap 3, and somebody leaked, one of the guys that has something to do with it leaked that possibly it has something to do with this 1950s psychotic Cap, which is in real comic stuff. If you don't know, Cap was frozen in the...
Well, they showed it in the movie, and then he's woken up in the 90s. But during that time, they don't let Cap die. Because Cap can't ever die. So they end up getting different people to fill in the role. And in the 50s, we get almost like a white supremacist kind of crazy guy ends up taking the role.
So that's something we might possibly see. Another thing that's interesting about that whole deal is Chris Evans, when Avengers rolls around, he will have completed his
contract
deal with Marvel. Right. The Sebastian Stan, the guy that's signed as Winter Soldier, he signed a 9-picture deal.
Holy cow!
So that includes, that's like Sam Jackson had a 9 or 11-picture deal too. So that's something, they plan on using him for something, and I would even argue maybe a possible replacement for Cap.
Okay.
Because Chris Evans
Well,
may
he
not
did.
want to do it forever, So
In the comics, he does replace him for a little while.
that'd be kind of cool. American Horror Story, we talked about that a little bit. They've said that next season is going to be set in the 50s, and it's going to be centered around a carnival, and possibly will be just
I love that movie when it was called Carnival.
Carnival is a great series on HBO that was had a horrible ending, but it was a good show. Could be Jessica Lange's last season there.
That was too bad.
I can't wait for Fargo. I'm really excited about this. I think the movie's okay. The movie's
It's a great movie. I don't know about being a TV show, though.
Well, you got Billy Bob Thornton and you got Martin Freeman. I'll watch Martin Freeman do the dishes, okay? I think he's a great actor. I really enjoy him. So I'm excited to see that. Grimm, Chicago Fire got renewed. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, no big deal there. And we knew it was coming. It's doing really well.
I watched the first episodes of Crisis, Believe, and Resurrection.
I watched Believe. Liked it a lot, actually. Chris was actually surprised that I liked it. My wife didn't think I would like that very much.
Of those 3, I like the first episodes of. I like the first episode of Crisis.
Which one's Crisis?
The one with Gillian Anderson. She's an actor in it, and the only real name.
What's
in
the theme?
Rich kid, high school bus trip with the president's son on the bus gets kidnapped. The entire busload of kids gets kidnapped.
All right, so this is a real world action spy kind of thing.
There's no supernatural to it.
Believe is kind of a supernatural girl with superpowers, almost a Carrie, but a good person, and a secret organization taking care of her. And Resurrection is the returned, ripped off from.
Having seen 2 episodes of that, my problem with that is they've found a crappy way to keep the main character, the guy that's the investigator. He's from the Immigration and Naturalization Service and like that. How is he still involved in what's going on in this? Even 2 episodes in, why is he still around?
Sure.
It didn't make sense to me.
And I see one last thing on there. Banshee?
Banshee ended up...
I don't know what that is.
It's a show on Showtime.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Cinemax. Really, you would love it. You would love it.
Check it out. There's also a show that just came out called The 100, which I haven't seen yet, but we both need to probably watch that and talk about it next week. It's another CW show. So we're at 30 minutes, so hey everybody.
One quick plug before we go. I'm going to be on, Leonard Pig has his show, the radiofreekokomo.org. You can go there. It's a podcast he does. I'm going to be on that this Saturday
cool.
at 4 o'clock. This show probably won't be on by then, but I'm sure you can listen to it on the.
It'll be.
Let's talk about reality.
He's good. All right, so we're going to be on Pigpen.
Is that what it's called?
I think it's called Pigpen.
Has it got little dots of dirt all over the place?
So I'm Shawn Hilton. This is Mike Harrison. We're going to catch you next time here on the GeekStorm. Be groovy.